Hey guys, it's Laserbeast here. I hope you're doing well today. So you may have heard the good news that in Battle for Azeroth Patch 8.3, Mythic Plus dungeon rewards will now scale up to level plus 15 keys, and the weekly chest that you get for completing a plus 15 key will be Mythic raid level, item level loot. Although, there's a bit of bad news, it comes at a cost. So we expect a difficulty increase when the seasons change. Now from Season 3 to 4, the big downer is it's the biggest ever increase in percentage difficulty that we've ever had since Mythic Plus came out back in Legion. So it's going up by 45% difficulty, so 45% more health and 45% more damage per key compared to what it is now. So how does that equate? So Wowhead have put together this nice little table that basically tallies up and shows you the comparison of the difficulty in each key level now. And it pretty much equates to a +4 level increase per key. So like a +2 will feel like a +6, a 10 will feel like a 14, a 15 will feel like a 19. So if you're doing a +10 weekly, which is pretty much all I do, all I tend to do, is just get the +10s in there on my characters each week. So if you're doing that, it's going to feel like you're doing a +14 in 8.3. And if you're the kind of person that's doing a +15 each week, it's going to feel like a 19. So it's quite a steep increase. Now, there's some things that are occurring in 8.3 which are going to potentially help with this, and I do feel that they're not just going to have done this randomly. They're not just going to have thought, do you know what, we'll really like screw with people, it's probably the final big patch of this expansion, let's just make it really hard. I don't think that's what they're thinking here. So we're going to get things like the legendary cloak in patch 8.3, which of course is going to be a higher IR level than all of our other pieces, even the Azeroth pieces, and it's going to be quite powerful. If anything, its most basic thing, it's going to be a big stat stick, really. But the only thing is, it might not have the stats on it that are best for you, especially if you're a tank or healer, for example. So I do think for Mythic Plus people specifically, you're going to get this legendary cloak anyway, and you're going to be powering it up to help you deal with corruption in these horrific visions that we're going to be doing in 8.3 and in the raid. But if you don't raid, I have a feeling that sometimes there might be situations where if you've got a cloak, for example, that's eye level 460, in 8.3, and you've still not upgraded the cloak, say the legendary cloak is 470, which I believe is the base eye level that it is when you first get it. If you get a cloak that's 460 but it has your best stats on it, you may actually replace that cloak. Now, we understand that the Mythic Plus affix is changing from beguiling to corrupted in 8.3, so which is where there's going to be an obelisk somewhere in the dungeon. You're going to be able to click it, transport yourself into N'y'alotha's realm, which is basically like a shadow copy of where you currently are. There's going to be a lieutenant in there somewhere. You go and you kill the lieutenant. There'll be other little mobs as well that cast things, but once you've killed the lieutenant, that's going to spawn a portal which you can then use for skips later on in the dungeon. So not 100% sure how it works. I think Preacher's done a video on that if you want to go and have a look at that. So maybe when you're in this N'y'alotha realm, the corruption bonuses that you get from the cloak might help you. So it might be the case that you always have this cloak equipped no matter what content you're doing in 8.3 in general, not just Mythic Plus, but we need to wait and see on that. There's also corrupted gear, so you will get corrupted gear even if you don't raid. It does drop from Mythic Plus dungeons, and it's got a chance to roll basically like a positive effect and a negative effect. There's like quite a long list of positive effects that you can get. The negative effects come at certain breakpoints, so when you reach like 20 corruption, 40, 60, 80, you're going to get added on another negative effect. Now your legendary cloak, once you've powered that up, that's going to help you to negate these effects. If you find that you get a piece of gear that you don't want the corruption on at all, if it's a really crap bonus that's not really for you, and it's got a nasty lot of corruption on it, then you can get it cleansed as a quest that you can do that. I don't think it's too expensive as well. They don't want you to feel forced to have to wear a corrupted item. But basically, for Mythic Plus players in mind, once you've got some corrupted gear, yes, it might help you. So maybe the corruption thing is pretty powerful, and they're expecting like further on in the patch, people are going to have quite a lot of corrupted gear. The cloaks are going to be higher enough power to negate the negative effects, so people are going to be pretty damn strong, in 8.3. So perhaps that's why this increase is so steep. There are also, for those raiders out there, in ny'alotha there's some weapons that are like corrupted, but they don't have a negative thing on them. They just have a positive effect that's like quite a unique one for every every spec. Not like they had in Legion with the artifacts, but there's weapons that each class can use, which have some nice bonuses on them, which are quite unique. So if you're a raider, they will also help you out in Mythic Plus dungeons, but of course if you don't have the opportunity to raid, if you don't have time for that, then if you just play Mythic Plus, you're not going to have access to them, so you're going to be at a slight disadvantage potentially if those positive effects are really crucial to your spec. So although this is pretty harsh and seems like a it's not like a punishment, but it seems like it's going to be quite difficult for Mythic Plus players initially get going on until we get the gear and things. But we do have to bear in mind that this is likely to be the last increased difficulty in Mythic Plus in this expansion, and we've got at least 8 months, I would say, if not longer, until Shadowlands comes out. So we're going to have plenty of time to gear up, to power up that legendary cloak. There is a cap on it, I believe, so you're going to get it to the max thing, max eye level it can be. We're going to have loads of time to gear. So if you want to get, because you've got to bear in mind as well, for doing a plus 15 key, there's now an achievement, and you can get a mount as well for clearing all the Battle for Azeroth dungeons on a plus 15 key. So people are going to want to do this. We're just going to have to persist. We're just going to have to keep on gearing up. We will be able to tackle them eventually, even if it's really hard at the start. So there you go, guys. I just wanted to make you aware of that. There's a huge increase to difficulty in Mythic Plus in 8.3, but don't worry, you've got it, guys. Just keep practicing, keep gearing, and we'll get there. So guys, I've been LaserBeast. Thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Take care.